Yeah, this time we'd like to introduce Henry Yin, APAPA Bay Area Regional President and one of APAPA's founders. And he's a successful businessman and president of the APAPA California China Trade Commission. He's also the brother of CC Yin, who is the other founder of APAPA. And that brings up a possible debate about who mom loved best, but that's a discussion for another time. Henry?
Well, good evening, fellow APAPA members and supporters. In the presence of APAPA Bay Area region, I'm very honored to introduce to you the next speaker. In November 2018, she won an historical election, becoming the first Hmong American woman to be elected to city council in the state of California, and the first Hmong to be elected as in the city of Oakland. She's the daughter of Hmong refugee parents from Laos. She's a domestic violence survivor. As a single mother, she put herself through college while working and raising her son. She transferred to UC Berkeley, later where she earned her degree in legal studies. During that time at UC Berkeley, she established the Bear Pantry, a food access program for students with families who could not afford to buy healthy food. Well, due to the limited amount of time that I'm given today, I'm not able to share with you all outstanding programs that she has placed for all people in the city of Oakland in the last 2 years. So without further ado, please allow me to present to you a daughter of Hmong immigrant refugee, a strong voice for all people in her community, a role model for all APAPA interns and the future interns, a city council member of City of Oakland, Sheng Thao.
Thank you, Henry Yen, for the wonderful introduction. And thank you to CC Yen Marshall, Mr. Fong, and Papa for having me here today and putting this important forum on. As Mr. Yen has said, my name is Sheng Thao, and I am the District 4 City Council member for the City of Oakland. And I'm so incredibly honored to be here with you all tonight and to celebrate this amazing event with everybody. I'm California's first Hmong woman council member and the only millennial on the Oakland City Council. You may or may not know this, but I actually owe a lot of my success to APAPA's summer internship program. It was through this very program that I was paired with my former boss, who is the current president of the Oakland City Council, who eventually hired me and promoted me to be chief of staff for her. The experiences that I was able to absorb in the council member's office is what set me up to eventually run for office and be successful during my campaign, making me APAPA's first intern turned elected official success story, which I am so proud to be a part of. As a daughter of refugees, my siblings and I are first generation in my family to receive a formal education. Think about that. We're the first generation in my family to receive a formal education. So like many Hmong Americans, my family came here from Laos after the secret war that took place in Vietnam and Laos. We settled in Stockton, California, where I grew up with 9 other siblings. Even at a young age, I found myself demanding justice. And in this case, it was protesting the strict expectations for Hmong women faced in their family and community. I've charged myself with this continued activism throughout my entire life and continue to fight for those whose voices are marginalized and underrepresented. That is one of the reasons why I ran for office. It's important to not only have people in office that look like us, but it's equally important to have representation that reflects our various life experiences, because we all have different life experiences. My identity is shaped through my experiences. I'm first generation in my family to receive a formal education. I'm a champion to break down patriarchy within my community. I'm a domestic violence survivor where I continue to speak on my experiences throughout California to empower women, especially women of color. I'm a single parent, And I have also been homeless for a short while as I escaped the domestic violence relationship that I was in. You see, we all have these labels that are placed upon us and labels that we place upon ourselves because they're identifiers. And for a long time, I thought of these identifiers as negative. But through practice of speaking my truth, I know that they are actually my strength. It's through these strengths that shape my empathy for others, that informs my compassion for experiences, and directs how I lead as an elected official. Many may look at my identifiers and say that being an elected official, specifically representing the Oakland Hills, was never supposed to be for me. But the power of engagement, the power of building community, and the power of listening and learning will always be in your favor if you do so. I say this to say that as a daughter among refugees, where I am today because of the help of so many people through community building with all kinds of folks from walks of life, and gained the trust of the voters in my districts to represent them. And to this day, I continue to charge myself to lead through community first. And as we're on the topic of community, currently we are seeing unrest throughout the nation. I believe it's extremely important to do the important work within our own communities to ensure that there's equity and that we dismantle hate, we dismantle bigotry, we dismantle racism. Being Asian American or API, we continue to be lumped into categories. And these categories are many times not accurate and are not representative of our shared struggles and our shared stories. However, when we fight for visibility and liberation, we are obviously stronger collectively. We know that if there is hate, bigotry, racism, xenophobic rhetoric that are made towards our Black and brown neighbors, that hate and bigotry and racism will soon be at our front doorstep, because our liberation are interconnected with our Black and brown brothers and sisters' liberation as well. Therefore, we must stand up and we must show up for each other because we are all connected. This connectivity of person to community is truly what I believe has been the driving force behind the successes that I've been privileged enough to take part in, working side by side with different organizations. An example of this for me is higher education and having a dependent while attending higher education. Attending college is hard enough, but add a child or a parent who is dependent upon you for food or for resources. That's even harder. That is why during my time at UC Berkeley, I partnered with other parents to help establish what is now called a Bear Pantry at UC Berkeley, a place where students with dependents are always welcome to pick up food, free of charge and free of any questions for their family. Breaking down barriers is essential to how we move forward with equity lens. That's why I'm really big on lifting while climbing. Basically, what that means is not shutting the door behind you. Once you've made it through that door, you should always turn back and lift those who are coming up behind you, because we, again, are all bound to each other. So for our future generation of leaders, I say to you that you all play such an important role in how we move forward policy making, in the fight for justice, the fight for liberation, and the fight to take initiative. Charge yourself to be that change, because change comes really one person at a time, one policy at a time. But all of this is done through community. When you face challenges and struggles in your life and manage to get past them, it really changes the way you look at the world. And as a legislator, I strive to use my experience to write measures that uplift the lives of our most marginalized communities. And as a leader, I am dedicated to uplifting the voices of women, refugees, and other marginalized voices. I'm going to end things with a bit of advice. Remember the experiences and the struggles that have challenged you the most. Remember how you rose to face those challenges and hold tight to the feeling when you finally overcame them. Remember who was there with you when you struggled, and how the smallest bit of help made the biggest difference. When we struggle, we grow, and when we help one another through the challenges of our lives, we impact the world in such a huge way. So remember to always lift while you climb. And lastly, you are on your own path. There will be times when you will question yourself, your qualifications, your leadership. Just know that you are right where you need to be, and call upon mentors if you need to. We are all here to make sure you're successful. Thank you again to Papa and for the opportunity for me to keep coming back to tell my story to uplift and inspire our future leaders.